Well, hello, Stampers. It's the Pampered Stamper, and happy Wednesday to you. Wednesday means that it's time for stamping through my stash, and I show you some stamps that I have but have not yet inked up. So I stamp them all for you, and that way you get to see what they look like in real life. My name is Jackie Vander Sarboot, and I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in both Canada and in the Netherlands. And the reason I do stamping through my stash is because when you purchase your stamp set, you have a 3 month warranty on them. So if there's something wrong, you want to know right away so that you can get your set replaced. The other reason is sometimes you forget exactly why you fell in love with a stamp set that you ordered. And if you ink it up right away, you'll remember and you might even discover new things about it. So let's take a look at what I'm showing you today. I'm looking at textured notes and you are remarkable. And maybe you're wondering why both sets. I'll tell you why. I got a beautiful swap card from my team member, Carolien Boone, and I want to remake this card. So I'm going to first show you all the stamps, and then I'm going to show you how to make this card. So let's get started. Now, what's cool about this is that we have a rubber stamp and we have a photopolymer stamp. So you can see the difference. With the rubber ones, there is a thick layer of foam in between, and there's a nice deep rubber layer. These are more expensive than our photopolymer, but the photopolymer you can see through. So some people really like that they can see exactly where they're stamping. Keep these out of the sun, okay? Do not store them in a sunny spot because that's not good for them. They come in like this between a thin piece of plastic and a thick piece of acetate. The idea is that you take them off and you store them right on your stamp case. And then you can save that acetate. I showed you the other day how to emboss a hummingbird right on this acetate. Some people said, oh, that doesn't work, it melts. It does not melt. Mind you, as soon as your image is embossed, you need to stop. You don't keep cooking it because then it will eventually melt if you keep doing it. But this is the way you store your stamps. So you put them all in here. You can see exactly if you're missing one. And then, oh, look at that cute little bee. See, there's an example. That little tiny bee, I hadn't noticed that it was in this set. And it's super cute. So I keep my thick sheets of acetate in an envelope so I can use those for cards. And then that thin little piece just goes over top. So that's your little trick there. So I'm going to start with this one. Technically, with photopolymer, you should lay them with the smooth side up on your desk and then pick them up with your block. That way, if there's a coordinating die, they will absolutely fit together. So I'm going to stamp these with Early Espresso. And I just saw something else that's really cool. And there. Look how nice that is. Such a beautiful image. And I'm just going to pause this. My screen is doing something weird. So I've put all the sayings on one block to save time. And it's really quite a beautiful font. You are remarkable in every single way. Friends are flowers in the garden of life. Sometimes the simplest things mean the most. Then we have a leaf. Let's see. Oh, I went right over top of, and it looks like, see, and this is one of those things, I'm just going to stamp that right over top. So look, I didn't even realize that it's meant to fill in the flower. Now, I just did it in browns, which is perfectly okay. But look at this. There's also a flower stamp. I'm going to do that in Darling Duckling. It's a great color. So look, I'm just going to stamp it on its own. And I've not stamped these before, so sometimes you get a bit of a mottled look. I'm going to go really light. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? And then we also have a tiny little inset. So here I'm doing this in Espresso, Black-Eyed Susan. It's stamped off, you just get a softer look. So that's fantastic. And then remember that cute little bee I was telling you about. Look. How adorable is that? Then we have a little spatter stamp. Mm. See? It's nice. That's a really nice trick for stamping off to get a lighter look. And then we still have one more, and that is this little guy. And this one, I'm not so sure. Yeah, you can make a nice little pattern. Yeah, that one requires a little bit more creativity. It's just a little background stamp. So those are the stamps from You Are Remarkable. Now we're going to do the stamps from Textured Notes. So here's the Textured Notes stamp. And it's one of those ones that I wasn't going to get. I just thought, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. And then I saw what Carolien did with it, and she's also made a beautiful scrapbooking page with it. And I thought, okay, I have to have this. And of course, these images perfectly match the paper that comes with it. It's the woven textures. So these just go simply on a block. Let's see, does that fit on here? That should fit. Okay, I'm using pecan pie. And let's have a look. So I like to show it to you full strength and then stamped off. And it's quite a nice subtle background. I think that my pecan pie needs to be re-inked, to be honest. See, and then watch this. You can ground it like that or do it separately. But it's also what you would call a distinctive stamp. See how there's different shades in the leaf? There's dark and light. That happens naturally. Really, really cool. It's one of those stamp sets that makes you look artistic. So let's look at this one. There is that woven, and I don't know if you can do this and build a pattern. Yeah, you probably could. Anyway, it's really nice. Well, obviously, I say that because if it wasn't nice, I wouldn't have bought it, right? So here we go. You are seriously the best. Isn't that great when you think that? Now, when you think it, you can actually stamp it and tell that person. I'm going to put 211 here. And that's exactly why we send thank you cards. That has never gone out of fashion. It's always a great thing to do. People appreciate it, and we probably don't do it enough, including me. So here we go. And that's nice. So I've just done these in browns, but they would look great in greens, of course, too. But it also makes for a great black and white card. So now we're going to make a card. So those are the stamps. And now we're ready to make the card. So let's take a look. Here's the finished card. Now, the only thing I don't know, there are two ways to get that white on the flower. We can either do it with a watercolor pencil, or we can use white craft ink. I'm going to use a watercolor pencil. Now, these are the Textured Notes dies. I have two of them cut already here, but I want to show you the rest of them. So these two are the second and third smallest dies. There's one smaller one yet, which is here. And then we have this one. Look at how nice they are. They all have a different, see, they're just beautiful rectangular dies. And then there's also a skinny one like this. So lots of options. Here I've used a bigger one, but you can see how nice the edge is. So I absolutely love them, and I have to confess that when I bought the dies, they are a bundle, of course, with I can't remember. I think they're a bundle with Textured Notes. Yes, and I just thought I don't need that stamp set, but I'm just going to get the dies. But you save 10% when you get the bundle, and I gave up that savings because I didn't think I needed the stamp set. So get the bundle, guys. It's worth it. So we are going to stamp our flower and our saying. Here's the saying, and remember, we're just going to turn that upside down. I'm going to stamp in early espresso. So we'll get that open. And I'm also going to stamp the flower, I think, in early espresso. Well, maybe that one's, no, the flower is going to be in black, memento. So here we go, it's upside down. Tap, tap, tap. Take a look to make sure it's inked well. And then hover over. And when it looks like you're happy with it, then commit. There. That looks really nice, doesn't it? Now the flower. And the flower, put it on this one here. It's a big one. We're going to stamp in espresso. And look how clever Carolien is. Sometimes this just really adds. See how she stamped the flower off to the side to leave a little bit of negative space? That adds interest instead of stamping right in the middle. So memento black is what I'm using. I am not using any water for this, okay? Otherwise I wouldn't use memento, it would bleed. So we're just going to stamp this off to the side a little bit. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 press. And there we have it. Now we're going to get, oh, you know what? We'll just put those aside. We're going to use a white card base that is 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4, or 21 centimeters by 14.85 scored at 10.5. And now I have this paper, and I'm going to tear it at about 1.5 inches. You want to hold on to the part where you want the little white edge. So I'm just going like this. I'm tearing down. If you want a skinnier white edge, then you can use a ruler. I'll show you. So here, this one has a fairly big white edge in places. If you don't like that, then take your ruler and do it like so, and just tear. And then you have a straighter tear and a lesser, smaller white edge. So whatever you like, both look nice. Just depends on your personality a little bit. So I'm just going to leave that like so. And then we are going to get pecan pie and basic beige. So the little rounds, the little woven rounds, they're like those little placemats from IKEA, are going to go here and here. And maybe again a little bit light here. Oh, see, that was a mistake. See, like that? I should have cleaned it and then stamped off. So you know what I'm going to do when that happens? Just flip your card. Your card has 2 sides. We're just going to turn it around. Tap, tap, tap. About here. Tap, tap, tap. About here. And now we don't, you can see the line on that stamp. We don't want that. I'm just going to take a piece. Oh, I don't want to waste. I'm looking, okay, this is something I've used already. So I want to stamp and then stamp off down here. There, see, it's nice and light. Okay, now we're going to take the branch, this little guy, in basic beige. And that's going to go so. Oh, that's way too dark. I'm going to stamp off here. And basic beige does have a slight greenish tinge to it. Oh, see how light that is? That's, I kind of needed something in between. So to take the eye off that, I'm just going to double stamp, and that softens it up by doing a double over there. Now, we could use the spatter stamp, But the spatter stamp, let's find it. Oh no, the spatter stamp is in here. But you see how light of a spatter Carolien has in here? See how tiny it is? There's a better way of doing that than the stamp. The stamp is okay, for sure. So you know what? I'm going to stamp in and then a little bit. I'm not going to use the whole stamp. I'm just adding a few dots here and there. I'm just there. Okay, and then we're going to get a blend. So I've got a dark pecan pie blend. I've got the brush tip, and you just tap it with your bone folder. And now you get a nice spatter. Okay, so now we're going to put I'm just looking to see if she has anything else going on here. She's got a little bit of a stamp here. I'm going to do that in pecan pie. And a little bit here. There. Well, there's not much there, but we're going to leave it at that. Then we're going to put this on here. And for me, this is just a bit too straight. I am more of this kind of girl with the edge, a little edgy. This side is really nice too. It's just a really gorgeous paper. This paper is also part of the sale because I think this is in a suite, yeah? I'm not sure. I'll have to check. But the suite sale is on till the end of June. So ask me if you need details on that. Now we need to find, see, this is going to get popped up here. This is going to get popped up like so. And then we're going to add a few gems, and we're going to add a little linen thread bow. And this one even looks like it has a little bit of a spatter on it too. So let's do that here. And it just adds a little bit of interest to do that, and you're not hurting your blend. So let's find some dimensionals. Stampin' Dimensionals are foam little hexagons that add just a little bit of height. They're lightweight, and they really do make a difference. You know what? This is so light here, the leaf. I'm going to do another one. I'm going to, oh, what did happen to my basic beige? Maybe crumb cake would work too. Let's see. I'm stamping off just lightly. Oh, that didn't help at all. You know what? I'm going to go dark. There. That looks better to me. My card will look different than Carolien's, and that's okay. Oh, it's stuck to my table now. That's not good. But I wanted a bit of a contrast. There. And now a white pencil. So Stampin' Up! Has beautiful watercolor pencils, and we're just going to go with little circles. And it's really just such a simple way to make a beautiful coloring on colored cardstock. You know, who would have thought? I sometimes, forget those simple things. But it's a really nice, easy trick. And then the leaves as well. It's so simple when you do it all in one color. It's pleasing to the eye. You don't have to think. It's a great thing to do after a stressful day. Need a break from the news. Just color. See how nice it pops? And then it's a little trickier over the edges here, but it works. Don't forget any spots. There. You can add layers. If you're not happy with how bright it is, just go over it again. Because at first when you do it, you think, oh, that's nice. And then it's like, oh, maybe it's not bright enough. Okay. And I thought that the center had been colored, but it just pops because it just does, because it's got surrounded by white. And so now this is just going to overlap a little bit. So we're going to add just at the top and the bottom. I'm running out, but you can also use the edges. And you can just pull them. You don't even have to cut them. Remove the backings. And now we just need a few gems. And it just comes to life. It's just beautiful. Simple and beautiful. Now a bow, a double linen bow, and some black dots. So here is I've got 2 pieces of linen thread, and I'm just going to tie them into a bow. So shorten the little tails a little bit. There. And then the nicest way to do this is with a glue dot. And it's just going to get tucked under a little bit, like so. I didn't put a glue dot on it yet. I'm going to wait with that. And now, in an effort to save the earth, I no longer always buy the latest embellishments from Stampin' Up. I have so many. So these matte black dots that I'm using are no longer available, but we have other black dots that are. So just check the selection. These are more rounded than the recent ones. But you know what? They work, and I'll be happy to use them all. Here, and another little one down here. And now I'll find my glue dots. These glue dots have been around the block a little bit. They're seeing some wear, but they're still great. See, it's almost done now. So uncover the last one. And I'm just going to take that linen bow, press it onto the glue dot, and then lift it up with my pokey tool, and then I can put it exactly where I want it to go. And there's the card. So, thank you very much. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please share it with your friends. Give me a thumbs up. I always love to hear your comments. Tell me where you're from, and I hope that you have a super day. If you live in Canada or in Europe, I would love to be your demonstrator. I will include the links in my YouTube, and I'll put them in a comment on Facebook as well. So you can just click on them to shop with me in Canada. And if you live in Europe, then just type in Jacomina, Jacomina. That's my Dutch name. Jacomina in the demonstrator locator, and then I'll pop up. I live in Schravenzande, a little town right on the North Sea. Have a super day. Had a great time showing you these 2 stamp sets, and of course, always a huge thanks to my team member Carolien Boone for her amazing inspiration. Bye.